The big story we are tracking this morning, it's official. Ayatollah Khamenei has been eliminated in a joint strike that was launched by Israel and the United States of America last morning. The death has been confirmed by Iran as well. A 40-day mourning period is underway. A successor has still not been named. Meanwhile, there have been several explosions that have been heard in Dubai, in Doha. In fact, multiple explosions reported in Bahrain as well. And as we speak, President Trump has now issued a fresh statement. This is what he says. He's saying Iran has just stated that they are going to hit very hard today, harder than they have ever hit before. They better not do that. However, because if they do, we will hit them with a force that has never been seen before. And he ends it with, thank you for your attention to the matter, President Donald J. Trump. I'm going to read that tweet once again because that's the big piece of news coming in. This is the second time we are hearing from Donald Trump this morning. The first in a CBS interview where he called this lawful action. Not willing to go out on a limb to say whether he started a war. He's keeping quiet about that. But he has now issued a fresh warning to Iran. He's saying Iran just stated that they are going to hit very hard today, harder than they have ever hit before. They better not do that. However, because if they will, we will hit them with a force that has never been seen before. So that is President Donald Trump's latest tweet, as it were, that is coming in. My guests continue to be with us. Thank you very much all for being with us. General Dillon, I'm almost scared to ask this question. Welcoming our other guests as well. Thank you all very much. I'm almost scared to ask this question, but has World War III officially started? Because we now have the Revolutionary Guards who are announcing that they have struck American vessels in the Indian Ocean as well.
Good morning, Shreya ma'am, once again, and good morning to your viewers and the fellow panelists. Ma'am, the definition of a world war is the world is more or less divided into two blocks, with few odd countries staying neutral or not taking sides initially, subsequently joining in. That division of the world in two separate blocks has not happened so far. What has happened so far is USA and Israel have launched a joint operation against Iran. Iran has retaliated by hitting Israel, the US assets in the region, as also some Gulf countries around the Persian Gulf, to make sure they also get involved and the world takes notice of it.
Okay.
The world per se has not yet got divided into two blocks. Russia, China, although quiet but overtly, covertly, nothing has yet come out in the open. European Union has made a very weak statement. United Nations, as usual, will make a statement. So overall, I think it is a skirmish or a conflict between two warring groups, smaller groups. One side is Iran, other side is USA and Israel, and Gulf countries have been roped in.
Okay. You know, we are hearing from Iran as well, because when a war starts, it's fought on the battlefield, yes, but it's also fought in many different arenas. We are hearing from Iran once again. We are hearing, in fact, from Iran's parliamentary speaker, and he's sending out a message to President Trump and Netanyahu. You've just seen the response of President Trump to that. It's on our screens. What the Iranian parliament speaker is saying: we will strike such painful blows to you that you yourselves will beg. You will see the government had prepared for the death of Khamenei, so they have a roadmap at hand. So that is something that is now being confirmed, Srinjoy, by the Iranians as well. This is an open secret. They knew this was coming. They knew this was coming. They had a plan in place, and that's what the Iranians are saying. But as we speak, the Revolutionary Guards, who have got a new commander-in-chief this morning as well, are saying, in the fifth wave of Operation True Promise 4 in the Indian Ocean, the MSP ship, which was carrying ammunition for American vessels, was hit by 4 drones at the Jebel Ali anchorage and was completely disabled with damage and explosion. So attacks, counterattacks continue as we speak. But what do you make of President Donald Trump's response to the Iranian threat that has been issued just a few moments ago?
First of all, Iran can say anything, but you must be in a position to protect your supreme leader. How is it that you can't protect your supreme leader? That's the first thing. President Trump's reaction is expected. What he's going to do now, because he's warned the Iranians once again that, look, if you do continue to attack us, then we'll hit you with a huge force. Now, what that force is, he hasn't talked about. But clearly, there is enough force in the Persian Gulf, in the area, because at this point, the Americans have two aircraft carrier battle groups, the Abraham Lincoln and the Gerald Ford. Plus, before the Gerald Ford came, they put in 4 guided missile destroyers and 2 littoral ships, the USS Canberra and the USS Santa Barbara. So they have enough force in the Gulf. And there can be a series of missile strikes because these guided missile destroyers have the ability. The aircraft carriers can carry 60 to 90 helicopters and fighter bomber planes. Now, 90 is quite a lot. So even if 45 or 50 of them are fighters, so 50 and 50, 100 fighters with ordnance is serious business. So what Trump will do, we don't know as yet, but there is enough force with the Americans, not to mention the B-2 bombers in Diego Garcia. So there's a lot there, and we'll have to see what he does and what he targets. So far, he has targeted military installations. He has targeted, for the first time, the leadership. He has targeted air defense systems. He has targeted missile sites and missile manufacturing factories. These are standard things. Now, is he going to target, let's say, refineries or other infrastructure?
Okay.
If he does that, then that means there'll be a serious crisis, not just in Iran, but elsewhere as well.
Give me a moment here, because we are hearing from the Iranians. This could be psyops, it could be them exaggerating things, but this is what they are putting out as we speak. We've already spoken of the MSP ship that was carrying ammunition for American missiles, which the Iranians are claiming was hit by them. There is more. They are saying the American naval base in the Abdullah Mubarak area of Kuwait has been hit by 4 ballistic missiles and 12 drones, and all the infrastructure around it has been destroyed, and a large number of American forces have been killed and injured. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point of time, no one is in a position to actually verify these claims, but these claims are coming from the Iranian side. What they are also saying is that the MST-class combat support ship, which was carrying fuel for American vessels in the Indian Ocean, has been hit by Iran's Qadr 380 missiles. Another claim being made, they're also saying that the Iranian Navy, along with the Air Force, will keep the gates of hell open to enemy units. So warnings and counter warnings coming in from both places. Quickly introducing General Katoch on the broadcast as well. Colonel Rafael George joining us from Israel. Thank you very much. Dr. Gunter, General Dhillon, and Dr. Ranganathan continue to stay with us. Again, gentlemen, it's something I've told my viewers. I'm requesting for your indulgence as well. It's a day of fast-paced developments. As soon as we have information and pictures, we are putting it out. So if I interrupt you, it's not out of rudeness or the fact that I don't want to listen to you. It's simply because it's important to put the pictures and the information out. Colonel Rafael, can I just come to you first? What do you make of the claims that are coming in from the Iranians? Because Israel and the US have struck Iran hard. There is no doubt about that. You've taken out their supreme leader. But the retaliation from Iran is equally strong.
Good morning. Well, actually, the retaliation from Iran is just giving the impression of being too tough. I think mostly it's impressive with regard to attacking the Gulf Emirates and the American assets in the Gulf. This is the main target of Iran right now. Regarding launching missiles towards Israel, I would say that it's sporadic rather than massive, although we are having quite a large number of sirens. Also this morning we already had 5 sirens alerts starting 5 o'clock in the morning. But we are not reported of any kind of damage or killed people. So actually, in Israel, the defense systems are working very hard to just, intercept all the incoming missiles.
Sure. But given the fact that the conflict has escalated, given the fact that there are warnings and counter warnings that have come from both sides, damage is to be expected, a loss of lives is to be expected. The Iranians are already claiming that there have been American loss of lives, something that, by the way, President Donald Trump, in his 8-minute-long post, had even spoken about, that be prepared for American lives being lost. At this point of time, Iran is claiming, Dr. Katoch, General Katoch, I'm coming to you. Iran is claiming that they were ready for Khamenei's death, and there is a plan B in place. There is a succession plan in place, essentially trying to say if the Americans and the Israelis thought that they will be able to destabilize the regime in Iran, that is not likely to happen anytime soon. What do you make of it? Is it just bluster, or do they mean what they say?
Thank you, Shreya. Shreya, Khamenei was 87 years old when he was killed. And for many years, for more than a decade now, he has been very seriously sick. And people are thinking he's going to, he won't survive. The people who were supposed to replace him have passed away, but this man continued to live. So his succession plan has been in the offing for a very long time. I think it was done well before even this, before this war started. Now, the people who were supposed to succeed him, I'm not sure whether some of them have been eliminated also. But the point is, it doesn't matter who succeeds him. I think they will have a very serious leadership problem now in Iran, as far as the Ayatollah and his group is concerned. They still have the support of the IRGC, but I don't think there is too much of public support for that. Ultimately, the way I look at it is that a leadership change will take place. How effective that leadership will be, I'm not very sure. The one more point, ultimately, I think the battle is now going to shift actually within Iran between two groups. The civil society on one side, which lacks a leadership base, and the IRGC with the Ayatollah, whomsoever is named, which has a leadership base, but which I don't think is very popular.
There are drone strikes happening, there are missile strikes happening, and what are also happening are warning strikes. We are again hearing from the Iranian regime. This is the Secretary of the Supreme National Council of Iran, who is saying that the American, I'm just quoting all of them here, gentlemen, American regimes have burnt the heart of the Iranian nation, and we will also burn their hearts, which means what they are saying is retaliation is happening, but expect an escalation as well. And the pictures that you're seeing on your screens, ladies and gentlemen, is from Doha, which was rocked by several loud explosions. You also have pictures that have come into us from Dubai. Very worrying pictures, actually, where you have the Dubai airport that was targeted by drones, by missile strikes as well. In fact, the world's only 7-star hotel, or Dubai's most iconic hotel, has been targeted as well. So has the Burj Khalifa. Can I just go to our guest who is joining us on the broadcast? Give me a minute here. He's joining us on the phone line. Yamir Adar, thank you very much for joining us. You're a businessman. You live in Dubai. What have the last 10 to 12 hours been like?
So thanks for having me. It's been quite surreal, actually, to be experiencing something like this in the UAE. And I think you hear a lot of things that have happened in the region in the past. But I can't say we weren't expecting this. I deal with about 30 countries here. And our team is constantly traveling across the GCC and the Middle East. So I had informed the team a couple of days ago that I want nobody to travel because I wasn't feeling very comfortable, because we were anticipating something is going to happen. I think it is totally unbelievable the way it is unfolding, and living in Dubai and living in the UAE, you have a sense of a safety and security, which I have to say we still have. I think the Indians across the region are much more resilient than the world would like to believe. So we feel there is of course, we're worried. I feel worried because my children are here. I'm here with my wife. We were supposed to all travel for the Eid holidays back to India. Or the airport is shut. We've heard the airport has been struck as well. But having said that, there is a overwhelming sense of security still. I'd still like to believe that we feel safe because we're in the UAE, and there is an overwhelming sense that the government is going to do their bit to take care of us.
Yamir, that being said, I'm sure the government there is doing what they can. But you have someone like a PV Sindhu who is stranded there. She has been tweeting. Yes. We've seen parts of the Burj Khalifa on fire. I'm not saying the entire building is on fire, but we've seen parts of it at least on fire. We've seen the Dubai airport, which is one of the busiest airports in the world, being targeted by drone strikes. Your largest hotel, the most iconic hotel in Dubai, has been targeted in drone strikes as well. So is that a false sense of security? I hope all of you are safe, and I hope all of you remain safe, and every citizen in Dubai remains safe. But can I ask you if you will be looking to come back to India as soon as it is possible? And if you can just talk to me about, explosions that you may have heard, etc.
Yes, so we've been hearing, I think the point of worry began when you started hearing a lot of the explosions, and even we were woken up, from our sleep in the middle of the night around 12:30 at midnight. And there were those warning signs that, the government put out an alert on the phone. So all the phones in my house, started making that warning signal. So it is, as I said, it is worrying, but, there have been situations that, remind me of something similar, not to this scale. So, there was that, the flood in Dubai, which was a couple of years ago. And the government, yes, there was some turmoil for a couple of days, but they were able to pull through very quickly. And as I said, I think everybody who was here knew that something like this can happen, maybe not to this extent. And the only thing one can do now is, I think, you need to be positive and stay safe, stay where you are.
Okay.
And, so just want to be positive compared to a lot of when I look at the news anytime, it looks like the world is ending, unfortunately. And it's not any channel.
Well, today the pictures that are coming in, Yamir, unfortunately are worrying. Not just for Dubai, but for the entire Middle East and for the rest of the world as well. So I just hope all of you stay safe. Our wishes with you, with your family, with every Indian citizen, every Indian who is in Dubai, everyone in Dubai. I hope everyone remains safe. Thank you very much for joining us with your experiences. We'll try and come back to you if there is more that develops in Dubai. As we speak, we are now learning from the Iranians, gentlemen, that a temporary leadership council will be formed soon until the next leader is elected. What does this mean? What would you say, General Katoch, this means? From reports that were coming in earlier, we were told that there is already a system in place. There are some 80 senior clerics in Iran who are part of an expert council who have already picked 3 names. Now it seems that a temporary leadership council will be formed soon until the next leader is elected. Here the impression was the next leader has already been elected, the successor has already been elected.
No, even when Khamenei was alive, and there were rumors about his health, etc., he still didn't nominate somebody as his successor. So, but there are senior people, and I think they will have a group of 10 to 12 people now who will head it temporarily till they elect somebody. The problem is that whomsoever they elect, I don't think he will have that sort of the aura which the Ayatollah had. And that is going to be their challenge, really is going to be who is going to be the leader who can carry them forward. Every day, the Iranians are getting weaker. They've got the missiles, they've got the drones, but every day they will keep getting weaker. And the challenge of the leadership is going to increase.
So far, Iran has only had 2 Ayatollahs. So there is right now a 3-member temporary leadership council that will be put in place to run Iran. After all, you can't be leaderless in the middle of a war. And then the next successor will be named, possibly, again, as I said, will it be after the 40-day mourning period? Will it be before that? We do not know. But this is certainly a time of crisis for Iran and for the Middle East. At this point of time, Dr. Ranganathan, there are 1 crore Indians who live in the Middle East. India is worried about them. It's not just PV Sindhu, who we've already spoken about and who's been taken to a safe shelter. There are others as well. One of them we've just heard from. Are you expecting the Indian side to make a statement on the Ayatollah's death anytime soon? Because he may have been what he has to the world. His relationship with India was fairly decent.
Well, let's put it this way, his relationship with India was also very carefully choreographed. He was always talking about the so-called oppression of Muslims in Kashmir or anywhere. So in that sense, I wouldn't say that he was, basically a friend. But the other thing that needs to be said is that when you talked about a 40-day mourning, I don't think the regime in Iran can afford 40 days. They need to decide within a couple of days at best, and even earlier, because please remember, this is a despotic regime. They just, a month ago, they killed 11,000 of their own people.
Correct.
Now, so under such circumstances, when the nation is not with you, at the same time, you have the entire might of the world's biggest superpower, perhaps the only superpower remaining, showering down its missiles on you. You have very little choice. You have to come up with a strategy very soon. Now, it might be that Khamenei actually left a strategy, which is quite expected because he was expecting this, that it would happen on the first day itself, has taken everyone by surprise. And as the panelists there said, what kind of a state it is that you cannot protect your supreme leader on the day one. Be that as it may, we have to worry about our strategic interests, and they are not just humanitarian, they are of energy. I keep repeating, when 60% of your energy is passing through that area,
correct,
you have to speak out, Shreya.
Let's see when the MEA does, because it's almost 11:22 right now. By last night, it was almost clear, because Donald Trump had spoken, Netanyahu had spoken, that possibly Ayatollah Khamenei is dead. The Indians will carefully work, Srinjoy, at the statement that they need to put out, because this is a balancing act that they will need to do.
Yes, India's position has been very clear. It's the 3 Ds, basically. De-escalation, discussions, and ensuring that there is peace. So that's really the position. India wants peace, and for good reason. As you rightly said, there are nearly 1 crore Indians in the area. Then there are huge economic implications, whether it's oil supply, whether it's investment, whether it's remittances. There are lots of things. We don't want Indians to get into this thing. We don't want Indians to become casualties. And it could well, if the war is spreading, you have Dubai, you have Abu Dhabi, you have Kuwait, you have Bahrain, you have Riyadh, you have Doha. All these places have been hit. Not to speak of the fact that there must be quite a few Indians in Iran, though the Indian government made it very clear that please leave as quickly as possible, whether you're students, businessmen, tourists, religious people, just leave. Even then, India does not want its people, its citizens to come in.
As we speak, the big news coming in is that Iran has installed a temporary leadership council, 3 people part of it. So they are the ones who are going to be running Iran at this moment of transition, as it were. So it's the president, it's the chief of the judiciary, and it's the Guardian Council that will be looking after affairs of Iran. Meanwhile, Iran is also saying that the US bases are not the soil of countries in the region, which means the Middle East. They are American soil. They're also saying, the Iranians are also saying, we have no intention of aggressing against the countries in the region, but the fact is that we will target US bases. Dr. Gunter, would you want to comment on that? The Iranians essentially telling their neighbors in the Middle East, we are not targeting you, but we are targeting the US, because where all there are bases in the Middle Eastern countries, that is US soil, that is not your soil.
All of us in diplomacy areas, in international relations, fully understand that Iran is no friend of the Saudis. They're no friend of the Emiratis. And for me, that's just for political consumption. The greatest obstacle that the Iranian future leadership will have will be waking up in the morning and staying alive. Let us not underestimate the power that Israel has on the ground and Mossad. Your fellow panelist so smartly said, what kind of regime is it that they cannot keep their supreme leader alive? So they could show that they're having, why don't we look and see what happened with Hezbollah? They lost Nasrallah, they added a leader, they lost him, they added a leader, they lost him. The greatest obstacle to the Iranian leadership will be merely staying alive. It sounds brutal, but it's absolutely true. And never underestimate the strength and the intelligence of Mossad.
So has Iran just named the next targets of US and Israeli strikes? Possibly they have. A quick break. There are more developments that we have to report on. Slipping into a quick break. We'll be back with much more. Do stay with us.